Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. So, Kaizer Chiefs draws 1-1 with Polokwane City in the most terrible football game you can watch as a Kaizer Chiefs supporter. I feel like we're at this stage in our Kaizer Chiefs supporter career where you're watching Chiefs like the way a Swallows supporter watches Morocco Swallows. You don't expect them to win anything. You don't expect them to play well. You don't expect anything good from it. But you are still there. You are still watching because what I watched in the first half and the decisions that Kevin Johnson kept making in this game was just the worst thing I have seen in my life. Like, I am not a coach. I can never say I'm a coach. But the things I watched today, guys, honestly, they just the worst things I've witnessed as a Kaizer Chiefs supporter in coaching, in everything. And I've watched Kaizer Chiefs for a long, long time. But before we get into it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. So let's get to this game. I want to start with the very simple thing, starting lineup. Ditloko today was struggling. And I said this before the game. Basically, I predicted all of Kevin Johnson's starting lineup, but I said this before the game. I was like, is it going to be smart to play Ditloko when he's looking like he's not comfortable? His body is not there. You could see in the other games, the guy his body is not there. They played him. He got injured at the end. We almost conceded a goal last minute because Ditloko pulled a hamstring. He's just been struggling the whole game. And then the next thing is this. Guys, we have been watching Chiefs, ne? Let's be honest with ourselves. We have been watching Chiefs for a long time this season. And four players have been consistent. In the beginning of the season, the four players that were consistent was Sitebe and Matt and Castillo. But first, it was mostly Matt and Castillo. Their partnership did not work at all. Like, it was atrocious. I don't know what else to say. Matt and Castillo's game was bad. Sitebe, we know, was not playing. He's only starting to play now with Kevin Johnson. Then we bought Mteto. Then Molefe tried the combination of Mtetwa, Sitebe, and not Mtetwa, Matt and Castillo, and it did not work. These guys can't play together. They get in each other's way. They are not creative players, so they come into a space and they can't see the forward run. I'm gonna give a very quick example of that. And then now we brought with Sitebe came in, and now it's been mainly Mtetwa, Sitebe, and Castillo. And they can't play together. Today we started with Sitebe and Castillo. One thing I'm going to say, and a lot of you guys are not going to like it, is Castillo is not a creative player. So when he's in the game, there is nothing that he does. He does nothing, Ibaba. Nothing. When I say nothing, I'm like, he's not even that good as a defensive midfielder to say he's defending or whatever. What Mtetwa did in the moments he came in was so much more. Mtetwa covered. Mtetwa was just busy. Like, you couldn't see. It was just that Mtetwa played way better than Castillo in this game. But my issue is this. Kevin Johnson continues to play Sitebe, Castillo, Mtetwa, either two of them all the time. They're in the game together. And today, that was why we drew this game, because these guys are not creative. So imagine you have two Katzandes during Stuart Baxter's era. Would Chiefs win the league playing with two Katzandes and no Yeye Litulunyan? Let's ask that question. Would Chiefs be able to win a league playing with two Katzandes and no Yeye? This is a very, very important question I want you guys to answer, because right now that is what's happening at Chiefs. We play Sitebe and we play Castillo, or Sitebe and Mtetwa, and it's like playing two Katzandes. These guys aren't creative. They can't run with the ball in the right spaces. They can't pass the balls in the right spaces. They make players like Mdu Shabalala do too much. Mdu Shabalala can occupy a a dangerous space in the game because none will pass him in the dangerous space. That is why Mdu Shabalala is always frustrated, because he finds himself in very dangerous areas. Yes, do you understand? Yes, he finds himself in very dangerous areas, but no one is going to give him the ball in that area. So in order for him to get the ball, he has to leave the dangerous area, go to the halfway line, touch the ball, and try and make a plan to get it to the front players. Because the two players whose main job is to get the ball to Mdu, they don't do that job. So when Mdu is going and fetching the ball in our half or by the halfway line, do we all understand that the moment Mdu does that, he's now the third defensive midfielder? Meaning that there's now going to be a gap in the midfield between Mdu and Uranga Chivavero. Meaning that is what Polokwane City then does. Then they just add two people in front of Mdu, and Mdu, his first thing is like, okay, now I have the ball, I'm deep, ne? I am deep, I have the ball, I'm by the halfway line. He only has two options. He only has a few options there. His few options are this. He can either pass the ball directly to Ranga and Ranga to hold up play with two center backs and a supporting defensive midfielder. But Mdu will be too far, so he can't even support him. And what's worse is that if he passes Ranga, Dupree will be too far because Dupree will be by the side, Saile will be by the side. So there will be no one close to Ranga to support that play. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, what Mdu, this is the option Mdu was picking a lot of the time, is that Mdu was just switching between Dupree and between Saile or Kwinika or Nhlanti, because he had no other option. Those were the only two options, because he became a defensive midfielder and he was standing next to Mtetwa, he was standing next to Castillo and Sitebe, because those guys don't know how to get the ball to the strikers. And because these guys don't know how to get the ball to the attacking players, Mdu has to do it, and it sacrifices his game. Because now he's not a fast player. When he passes Ranga, it's even frustrating for Mdu. You can see a lot of the time because he gets frustrated with Ranga, because Ranga sometimes also feels he's not getting the ball enough. Then Ranga comes into the midfield. And then if somehow Mdu gets the ball into the midfield, he has no one in the front, because now Ranga is in the midfield, because Ranga is crying that he doesn't get the ball. And if Ranga is in the midfield, it closes spaces for Mdu. Mdu can't operate manje in the midfield. That's what was happening. At some point, I remember the SuperSport presenters even asked themselves, Guti, is Ranga Chivavero playing as a midfielder? Because he's getting the ball by the halfway line and the Polokwane City defenders are almost by their box. But Ranga is by the halfway line playing with Abomdu. It's like, why is he here? Why is Ranga here by the halfway line? He should be there by the box with the center backs. Even if he doesn't get the ball, he should just be there, And that was my main thing. The other big thing I wanted to highlight, I've been going on for long, but the other big thing I wanted to highlight is that we get an injury to Dupree. Kevin Johnson, because he's a bright person, he goes and puts in Happy Mashiane. He puts in a defender for a striker. Let me get this right. We have an injury to a strike. It's about 25th minute, somewhere there. And you put a defender in the place of a strike. Let me tell you, let's analyze Mashiane's game when they put him there. Mashiane was lost. Mashiane had no impact at all. You could tell the boy doesn't play. That's not his position. The boy was lost. The boy was just, the one thing I feel sorry about for Mashiane is that the Chiefs coaches, oftentimes when they play him in the most unfortunate situations. Like today, why put him as a winger? Why? Because he's getting exposed there and it makes the Chiefs fans hate the boy. But he's not playing in his position. And they always do this to Mashiane. When we're losing, they put him in when like they'll never put Mashiane in when we're winning. No, they'll put him when we're losing. They'll put him when a striker goes injured. It doesn't make sense. Like, why not put Umfundo Vilakazi in for Mashiane? That was in my mind, that was the easiest thing. Or if you're not gonna put Umfundo, put in Jensen. Yeah. Those were the most easiest substitutions to make. But he went and put in a defender. And what's worse is that Mashiane wasn't even defending properly when it was time for him to defend. So if they put him there for there to be some defense, it didn't work. Then another thing is this. Why does he take... I don't know if Kwinika was injured, but I didn't understand why he would substitute Kwinika and put in Jensen. Like, maybe I didn't see that Kwinika was injured. Maybe that's my fault. But for me, Saile was tired. I was like, Jensen plays as a striker for the DDC. For the DDC, Jensen plays basically as a right wing and a striker. So why would you put this boy as a right back? He did well for himself. He gave a good account for himself. I will give him that. And yes, in the DDC, in the earlier times, he was playing as a right back. But now, in the past 2 seasons in the DDC, he hasn't been playing right back. He's been playing either a striker or a right wing. And my thing is that we're confusing these players. Mfundo Vilakazi. So from the 70th minute, Chiefs started creating its most chances. Why? Well, ask yourself, why did Chiefs create its most chances from the 70th minute? Because we finally put creative players who can put the ball on the ground and figure out a situation with their minds and the ball. They don't have to kick and run. They can just do that, put the ball on the ground and play. And that's what Mfundo do. Even Sitebe was coming to the party and they were just playing Nhlanti and they were just starting to find pockets. The only reason why I had a problem is the fact that we kept Sitebe in the game. But we kept Sitebe in the game, and my thing is that Samkelo Zwane was meant to be in that game. Why? There was a point in these moments where we were passing from the back, and Mdu Shabalala went and got the ball at the back. He unlocked these guys, these Polokwane guys, did 1-2s, ran into space, and Sitebe passed backwards. The biggest thing I saw today in Kaizer Chiefs play is our players need to pass backwards. Our players always pass back. And when they pass back, the thing that frustrates me the most is that they end up passing it back to the center backs or the defenders. And the first thing the center backs and defenders do is that they just kick the ball forward and it's over. Who taught these guys that passing back is the most important thing? Because why do all these guys pass back? Mdu Shabalala was passing back. A player I expect more from. Sitebe passing back. Castillo passing back. In tomorrow's video, I'll even break down Castillo's play because they kind of brings Castillo in the game to be a player who's going to header in the box, but we don't have supply in the box. But anyway, Amakhosi for life. We drew another game. We're still going to fight for a top 8 position. And honestly, I don't see us making the top 8 in the next season. And I don't see us getting MTN 8. And I don't think we should get MTN 8. Imagine first game of the season, we get Dumbat 7-0 by Sundowns. It is not the kind of pressure a new coach at Kaizer Chiefs will need. A new coach at Kaizer Chiefs should not meet Sundowns in one of the first games of the season. Give him a month at least before he meets Sundowns. That is my opinion. Tell me what you think, Amakhosi Network. Tell me what you think.